wild. Um, so, yeah, we were talking yesterday because it's Chris D'Elia. Do you know who Chris D'Elia is, Hatem?
Nah.
No, you don't. You haven't never seen him. He used to be on the Whitney Coming. He's an LA guy, but
Okay.
on TV, he was like, I would say he filled the void of when Dane Cook kind of aged out of the Dane Cook role.
Okay.
Chris
Okay.
D'Elia was like the most
Oh,
fuckable.
Chris D'Elia. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, here's a picture. That guy, you know
Yeah,
him?
yeah. Yeah. I know him. Yeah.
So I know him a little. I don't. I just because I work at the Comedy Store and I would see him here and there. So I'm not like friends with him. I don't. But I also don't have a. I mean, again, I thought he was funny in at Workaholics. I thought he was
Mhm.
hysterical. Workaholics, and I thought in the Hulu show, there's a dating show. He's great on that.
Yeah.
Wasn't into his stand up ever. His stand up is like for it's like almost like teeny bopper. Like I'm not like upset by it or something like oh he's a hack.
Yeah.
Like it's comedy for girls and a certain kind of girl. You know what kind
Yeah.
of girl that fucks a guy like who looks like
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
D'Elia
It's actually,
specifically.
and he's in the show You and playing almost himself with the
Well, I think
same.
that's what I want to bring up. Do you know that show You, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, Mike.
Oh, I love it. I haven't watched the most recent season, but that's with the psycho boyfriend who every
Yeah.
woman is in love with, even though they claim that they don't like to be stalked. So there's all this like
Right.
interplay of
Yeah. Well,
dynamics. Yeah, like
that actor is sickening woke in public
right.
outside that. So that's the ultimate fantasy of like, that's whenever Sex in the City merged somehow switched to the Me Too thing, and then I saw that like all this subconscious weird like girls into weird shit that I would never come up with because something happens when you're bombarded with that all the fucking time. But so fucking Chris D'Elia is in that, and he plays a guy who drugged and raped a girl, okay, or something, and did it a few times.
Teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing now is nothing like this. Is how vile the press is, okay? And by the way, because people, I made a fucking tweet, and I almost never fucking say shit about shit on Twitter, but it just
Which
grosses
is
me
a good
out.
strategy for you because you've been
Well, you know
you've
what?
been through the wash a few times.
Yeah, well, I would say one time was the main. I've had like minor washes, but nothing compares to like, all like the real news for like a week is
Mhm.
like, where you're like, are you serious? And then the little ones feed on what's left.
Right.
They come in and there's a little ecosystem. It's nothing personal. Like, who gives a shit? It's just like we do with, hey, we blew some people up in Iraq. Like, it's not, what a scoop. So, fucking, I said, quick question. Are we deinstating the concept of due process for Chris D'Elia that we literally just reinstated for Joe Biden after previously deinstating it for all men? Please, someone. I just want to be on the right side of history.
I saw that tweet. That was a great
Yeah,
tweet.
that
Well,
was fire.
that's what I think made people mad because what I used to do, I used to Facebook, I used to be on social media like addicted to it, okay?
Mhm.
And I would respond I would just engage with people willy nilly and like, and I got in trouble. The thing I got in trouble for was I got in arguments with dipshits and they try to provoke you to get you to say anything they can make into a thing.
Yeah.
And at the time, they weren't this force that they were since have become, where I was mocking people like that openly. Any kind of social fucking justice. Really what they are is the appropriate police. That's what it is. It's the way we enforce the new appropriate. you know, they're like HR of America, and I don't
Karens.
work
They're all
there.
Karens.
Yeah, and some of them are even Karens of color. They fucking but it is that. It's a bourgeois upper class like I'm gonna put a stop to this. It's not the hillbillies doing a lynch mob. It's the hillbillies get mad about you didn't salute the flag or some shit.
Yeah.
This is and also I really do believe that because of this kind of Ponzi scheme, there's not enough this is what I realize there's not enough spots for everyone. Because the people that lead this charge are always shitty comics that aren't even as good as D'Elia. Whatever your criticism of D'Elia's stand up. A bunch of people who suck. And then there's people who are good, but they get mad at somebody else's success, so they like to pile in. I read the messages, okay, that were in fact, I'll send one to Bobby to like put up in a second because maybe someone can explain to me what I'm supposed to think happened. Like, it's basically a girl going, want to hang out? And he's like, yes. And then the story is they didn't hang out. In fact, it sounds a lot like the Kavanaugh thing of, He jumped on me, and I thought I was going to be raped, but then his friend knocked him off me, and then they laughed because we were all drunk and we were 15. And to this day, some people really got, like, the harrowing story of nothing happened. That's what you just told me. Like, all things turned out pretty well for an underage drinking party. It actually worked out way better than a lot of fucking people who, get raped. But everybody was like, this is so compelling. And it's because they have a reason to find it compelling. They didn't want Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court because they thought he was going to take away the baby killing rights, which he did not do. So you freaked out for nothing. The Chris D'Elia, same thing. People saying it when I put this, it's because nobody likes D'Elia. That's fucking terrifying, dude. Oh, if we don't like you, then it's totally cool. We'll have a mob with the most petty evidence, and we'll take a TV show you were on and somehow psychologically merge that with this thing that's not even a crime that we can't even verify you did.
The same thing with, we need you, like Joe Biden, we need you right now. So just gonna forget anything that you've done, if you did it.
Listen, that's what I got shit for saying. Listen, have you heard you've heard the argument, did you ever have this where somebody goes, well, due process just means in court. Your life outside of court, you don't get justice. The mob handles everything outside of a court of law. Like, you've heard this argument, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to that? Like, Mike, what do you say to that if somebody says that?
I mean, there are two answers. One is that it's that kind of.
I was a lawyer. I'm sorry, I should have qualified.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer, so I can drone on into the complexities and share their side of the story and why they think it. There's two answers. One is that, and this is the primary one. It's like when people say, "Well, the First Amendment covers all free speech," and the answer is like, "No, you fucking idiots. These are values that the country has." And they're shared values, and they recognize that these are good values to have. So that's why we put them into the Constitution. We put them in the law. But we didn't just make up one day, hey, it'd probably be good for people to have First Amendment rights. It'd probably be good for people to not have their lives completely destroyed without hearing their side of the story. It's just inherent in human fairness. So there's an underlying value behind those legal concepts. Now, the flip side to that is, you can just not like somebody because you think they have bad breath. And that's your right as a person too. But if you're trying to be a good person, you would say, well, why do we have these kind of values? Why do we have, because like I get shit on by my fans sometimes because I'm just like, look, if you really hate Muslims, like I just don't really want anything to do with you. And they're like, Islam is actually a terrorist ideology. I'm like, no, it isn't, And so when you read the Constitution, the idea of due process is a good thing. We should probably live that way. Free speech is a good thing. Religious freedom is a good thing. And it's the values that were enshrined in the Constitution that should, in many cases, guide our behavior in our personal lives. Yeah, well, I think it's really funny that through 2000, post 9/11 till whenever woke became a thing. I noticed it beginning in like 2013. But that whole time, when you hear stories about these fucking Muslim dictatorships where somebody fucking sneezed on a Quran, so they have to be fucking destroyed, and you're like, what a bunch of crazy, and people get death threats because they said something Muhammad, and they got, oh my God. And you know what? At least they just got that one thing, like, people will fucking threaten you with death for shit that you got cast in a movie. Like, it's so much like that here. And they don't have the guts to kill you. They hope that you'll have the courtesy to kill yourself. No, Jeffrey from Game of Thrones gets death threats. No, because people are so dumb. They hate him because they really think he's Joffrey from a fictional thing. And because that's just how dumb some percentage of population will always be. Yeah, so anyway, the things, like, I don't want to respond to these dumb, because like I said, I won't talk about shit on Instagram to people. One guy, and this is, by the way, too much talking, but some guy said, so it was like some young guy asking about it, and here, wait, I'll show you. Because I'm not putting this online. Like, I'll say it here, then what, subscribe to the show, motherfucker. Here, let's see. Oh, fuck. I can't even find him. Oh, here we go. He had a thing about, like, how it's wrong. I don't trust the media. So this isn't enough proof for, like, oh, you have some tweets. If we're not believing that other chick that Biden, after you watch him sniff people and shit, like, you watch it, and it's like a joke that you made. Right. And I literally heard people say, well, even if it's true, she should take one for the team because Trump.
fuck you, man. Like, that's why I left a cult. I left a doomsday cult because that's the attitude. Jehovah's Witnesses, fucking biggest settlement against a pedophile ever of any religion was against the one I was in, and it wasn't because a person in authority did it. It was because when they were notified, they didn't go to the fucking police. They kept it in-house. We're going to handle it in-house, just like a fucking college does, or all these other places that somehow feminists are fooled into thinking they're empowered by this, where they're not. And even if Chris D'Elia is guilty as sin from this, by the way, this evidence, I read the transcripts. It couldn't even be cut content for Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen couldn't even put it in a, like, we were going to get this guy, but it just didn't, but he's kind of guilty. It wouldn't even make cut bonus content. It's nothing. And I'm supposed to take that and then mix it with a role he played on a show. And I've actually had people say this to me. Some of you, not dumb people that I'm not trashing, that I personally love. Be like, don't defend Chris D'Elia. He's a dick. I'm not fucking defending Chris D'Elia more. Hey, I'm defending myself, you psychopaths, and all of it. This is a thing we have for a reason. It's not a thing you conveniently throw away because you're in a fucking mob online. So I have young people like, how can you say that? I'm like, I don't trust the press. I don't trust you. I don't trust I don't trust the cops. So why would I trust you, the volunteer Karen army? Are you fucking high? So I'm biased, but my bias is I don't believe you. You know what I mean? Like, that's my bias now. And that's what I've been taught from watching how all these things played out, culminating in the Joe Biden thing, which was the end of Me Too. Just so you know, if you thought Me Too was still a thing, that was the end of it. That was the end of Believe Women. So you're going to have to be consistent. Sorry. I don't know why I'm yelling at Hot Tem. It's weird.
Yeah. I feel like it's my fault.
I was looking at your face as I was saying that.
And it may be unpopular to say that, but I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to do, and I'm not going to be some. I just think it's an impossible situation, and I'm just at a loss. I'm at a loss, and I'm praying.
All right, press pause. So, fucking. It's so funny because the amount of they're calling D'Elia a pedophile.
Right.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh, like, do you just see, like, and this is where I'm like, I'm never going to be a punk to any Hollywood bullshit. Because, all right, now, so that's all. I mean, you get it, right, Brian, what he was getting at. Can you go to Brandon Schaub now?
What happened to innocent until proven guilty? Like, is that done with it?
We brought it back for Joe Biden for this one election.
Yeah.
And believe women. It really means believe the media when they say a story, no matter how crazy it is. Don't look into it. Believe it. It's not women, because women that you know in your life you probably would believe unless you know them to be liars. It's when the media is making money on a story, believe it, because they're sick of these lawsuits. If they can get a mob to do it, then the media doesn't get sued, like UVA, like Jackie from UVA, where Rolling Stone got fucking humiliated because they didn't do their due diligence. Why? Because the moron that wrote it was following feminist theory, that the chances are so small that a woman lied, there's no point in even checking. It's only 2%. Hey, my parachute might not work, 2%. Why even check? It's probably fine. That's the fucking program. She said it in court. So the media loves this because now people on Twitter are saying it. I mean, that's not libel.
Twitter now is the New York Times.
Oh, look, these comics. Look, these either very mediocre to bad, or if they're good, very insecure comics are piling on. The media, that's every media thing about it. I don't even know Chris like that or enjoy his stand-up or fucking, like I said, I don't know him enough to like him or dislike him. I don't have a huge feeling on it, but it's crazy to me how much people want to, how much extra is because he's rich. There's an extra thing because there's only so many spots in the fucking douchebag prom and people know it. So this is like part of a larger thing of anything that you see it all.
And what's weird is like his statement. It wasn't even news. Like this should be a main news, like what he said, But a lot of people didn't even hear that he had.
They don't need you to do that to you. You don't need to be present. That's where I'm a fuck up because I'm like, I won't say anything I can't defend. Well, they don't come to you and let you defend yourself. That's like moronic of me. But wait, pray Brandon Schaub. I really want you to see this reaction. Bob, you might have to fast forward.
Yeah. It's a fucked up thing.
I can't talk.
Here we go.
Well,
that
that's
him?
appropriate. That's appropriate right now.
Keep going, maybe more. He gets really upset. He says he's really mad. Wait,
Because no matter what the facts are, whatever comes out, I'm as shocked as anyone. I'm hurt. I'm mad. I'm fucking mad, man. I'm mad at him.
All right, press pause, because I'm not playing this to like humiliate him or something, but do you see the reactions? Like, he's mad at Crystalia.
Why is he mad at him?
I'll tell you why. It's very clear. Like, it's such funny, like, such dude, like, men kind of do, like, but I don't know Brendan Schaub personally, but clearly of the group, he's the Brick Tamland of Anchorman. Like, Rick Burgundy might have said, go fuck yourself, San Diego. And this beautiful boy, like, he's sweet Brick. Why did you say that? And he's like crying. Like, he never wanted to have to deal with this. He loves it because Delia's famous and they hang out and it's fun. And he doesn't want to have this. First of all, who does have this thing where you have to go, I think my friend's not a pedophile, or pile on and say he's a pedophile. And he's mad at him for putting him in that position with his philandering ways because he didn't ever want to have to think hard, like, because he's like, do you know what I mean? Like, that he's a sweet guy, but that's what the tears are. And then Brian, he's the champ kind of it. He's the whammy. But Brian, like, that was pretty fucking straightforward. He's like, I never saw anything like it. And you see, look at them, like, it's just like, this is in no way to down Brandon or Brian. It's just watching how disgusting this mob is, what it does to people, putting him in this insane pressure cooker where, like, you have to vote based on just the word of people you don't fucking know who have bad intentions.
Because I read the story, because you know my background, Kurt. I read the stories and I was like, hell yeah, another Hollywood pedo. They're just
I remember,
exposed. So because everybody always sends those stories to me. I'm like, I told you, man, Hollywood pedos everywhere. And I was like, okay, like, I'm waiting for it, right? The build up. I'm like, I'm waiting for it. It's like, oh, hey, maybe we'll make out. And it's like, okay, that's pretty bad. You shouldn't say that.
I go, okay, did he commit a crime? Well, then press charges. Okay, fair enough.
You're just like, he's not saying send me, he's not asking, he's not soliciting pornographic images, he's not sending dick pics. So I'm just like, I expected Chris Hansen stuff. Like, he's messaging his, penis to underage girls. And I'm like, yeah, lock this guy up. And then another girl's like, oh yeah, when I was 17, he sent me like a flirtatious thing. And you're like, oh my God. And the problem, like, with people like Schwab and them or whatever is, like, how hard is it just to be like, I read the messages, and if you're going to cancel him, cancel me too.
I know exactly how hard, okay? Because I'm the dumb guy who doesn't give a shit about that stuff. But because somebody directly advised, like, don't risk anything for Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
Again, not for Chris D'Elia. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I had Patrice talk me out of it, and I remember at the Sheen roast, I'll never forget, 2 hours before then, he ended my entire infatuation with wanting to be on that kind of shit, where I will ever fucking cry because I'm going to lose my fucking brass ring. Dude, I'll never be in that position. I'll fucking die, bro. I don't give a fuck. So that's the thing that what makes it hard is he was friends with D'Elia as hot shit, okay? And this is why else it's gross. Everybody blew D'Elia up. If he was such a bad guy that I shouldn't defend, this is what I asked my friend. Because somebody that I really like is not somebody I'm adversarial to who said this to me. And I'm like, if he was so terrible, like he was rude to whoever at whatever, and this and all the Ellen stories come out later. All of you just booked him and propped him up the whole time. So what are you, brave now because you piled on when it was fucking convenient? Fuck you. Like,
well, and the thing, Schwab's rich too. That's why I don't have any respect for these people in like the industry or whatever. I get like you're up and coming comic, up and coming podcaster, and your boys on the ropes, and you're like, man, I'm sorry, dude, I can't be for you in public, but in private, I got your back. To where you're filthy rich. He's probably worth $10 million with all the CBD companies in it. Like, so he's multimillionaire, and you can't just be like, I know this guy. I don't believe this. I read the messages. The messages were dumb. He's an idiot. I'm going to smack him on the side of my head and say, hey, you need to age verify, you doofus.
Yeah, right.
But he's not a pedophile. Like, but they can't even do that. Oh, it's such a good. And then you're like all weeping. So I will make fun of him, but not for
If
showing.
I didn't like Chris D'Elia, I would never say something that fucking foul. He's a pedophile because I don't like him. Like, he was pelted with pussy. From the time I was aware of him till, I guess now, or when we stopped hanging at this store, it would be a crowd of girls. And they're the type of girls that are groupies.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I don't know if anybody remembers Society before 2016 or like, that was the whole thing of being a rock star, was like girls were going to just show up and suck your dick at a show.
Yeah.
That's why everybody got into that shit. And the people that when they talk about the rock star, that's Gene Simmons will tell you, that was the sweetest cherry on top. He doesn't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I just have sex with 5,000 women. And I'll bet he age verified all of them. I'll bet he did all the paper. He Jewish did all the paperwork to make sure.
Hey, just about.
Just like
Doing the same. It's like take a lot of media elements and like sentiment, and then and there's nothing there. Then you read it because I'm the guy. This is why I'm bad, because I read the shit. I didn't just go, oh, a woman said, I heard. Like, I want to hear what the woman says. I want to hear exactly what she said. I don't want to hear your story of what she said. I want to look at it. So I'm not trying to silence anyone. I'd like to hear all the details.
Yeah.
And when I look at them, I'm not even whelmed. I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah, but you're right with the end of Me Too movement with this shit. You know,
And that's the biggest thing. After Biden, shut the fuck up. You're done. That's done. You could back when I got eaten alive because I thought that Twitter wasn't the place to handle rape. Okay, my bad. But now it's been borne out that it's not. And it's going to affect you, the people that pushed it. All the people that pushed it for fucking Kavanaugh, the Alyssa Milano set. Like, she's a perfect embodiment of the dumb, like, rich liberal. That's her to a T. Like, just fucking narcissist, looks fading. Now I'm a smart politician. I'm not the chick that made Teen Steam. And you're still that. You're still the same basic fucking phony. What little I know of Brendan Schaub, by the way, I like him fine. Like, I don't dislike him. I feel bad for him. Like, I feel sympathy for him crying because I don't think he's like I think he's into being cool and popular, like a high school person. It's like Mike was saying about this immature thing, and the money will let you do it longer. I think that's probably more than getting pussy or whatever they say. You get to be young longer with money somehow.
Yeah, because I tried to watch his special, and it was really just like, hey, look at me. I'm cool. I have an Asian barber. Ha ha. Right. So cool, me. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the.
Dude, that's a great title for my hour. I have an Asian barber. I'm just going to say, hey, I like Brendan Schaub.
Well, that's what because people were asking me, because I got like trolled into watching it. And, my answer to that was because I don't like to, first of all, gossip about people unless there's a broader like issue at play. I just don't want to like shit over somebody's work. But yeah, it would definitely suffer from cool guy syndrome for sure.
So that's the tears of the cool guy. Like, you ruined our cool club.
Right. Because
you fuck too much. You couldn't just fuck a little bit less.
Right.
And I wouldn't be sitting here having to say you're not a pedophile, even though I don't think you're a pedophile. Right. Imagine that. Like, honestly, I don't know how close they are, but I'm not even put in that position where I have to say my friend's a pedophile for a bloodthirsty fucking crowd. Like, I might have a tear or two.
And he looked like Aaron Hernandez a little bit too.
Who does? Brandon? Or
yeah.
Me? Oh.
No, Brandon. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It's like the life when he lives with somebody like Chris D'Elia around him. That life is so good that he's probably crying about that.
Dude, I used to see him at the Comedy Store. It'd be him and like fucking David Blaine. I think it was David Blaine.
Yeah.
And it's just like girls all surrounding them on the side, and David Blaine doing magic tricks, and Chris D'Elia looks like bored. And it's like the amount that's thrown. I mean, this is the rock star thing that, if it's wrong, I mean, I never lived like although I got to do some pretty wild shit, but I was never that kind of guy that on the road, like somebody's waiting to suck my, like I've never had that kind of, that's mind blowing to me. I never had like pickup. I didn't know how to do like pickup skills or any of that shit. Like I just would go, there's a certain demographic that it's ruled out for me. And they're the ones like, they're going to check out your sneakers, your Brandon Schaub sneakers and your, like or D'Elia. The chicks that like D'Elia, that's not my demographic. That's maybe a simpler way to put it.
But that's more LA though. Like in New York, you were doing fine.
In New York,
Yeah, you were doing fine.
yeah. No, New York I did, but I didn't get.
Oh, you got hit up. Yeah, I watched you like.
Oh yeah, I didn't get Artie Fuqua. But see, I'm
You were
thinking
doing all right. I mean, you were doing okay, man.
I did better than I should.
You punched above your weight class. You know, that's the best a man can ever.
I did experience privilege. Hey,
Yeah.
I experienced privilege, but I'm just saying I'm not like. I always think like comics have different vices, you know. That I guess everybody does, but so everyone I knew they had a vice. Like Kevin Hart, it was gambling and pussy, and Big J was pussy, and he told me, Big J told me this. He goes, I grew up fat, and it made me have a complex, and it's like a self-esteem. These people have to compulsively have sex and do that. Like, I mean, not saying Jay's like to this fucking level, but the thing of you're insecure and that you have cool clothes because that makes you who you are. And girls want to fuck you because you're cool clothes, and you get that feeling of popular in high school. That's the driving thing. I was always a chemical guy. That's always was my vice. Is like I wouldn't get laid wherever I went, but I would find drugs if I wanted them. I would manage the same way some guy is a pickup artist, but I would just be that of drugs. But everybody has their fucking vice, and not everybody gets to indulge it to the degree that D'Elia was putting up. I mean, I remember him and Dane Cook had a race of like who could go the longest on their sets at these clubs. Like Dane,
really?
Before the clubs finally were like, dude, I'll tell you what, that's that was the real Me Too of comedy when the clubs all said, all right, enough of these fucking 4-hour sets.
And it's not that they can be entertaining for 4 hours. I know them both. I saw them both, but I don't know if they can. Like it's different than Chappelle. Like Chappelle
it became a dick contest. I think it was like a rivalry. So, but I mean, the amount of validation. There's no validation like sexual validation. I think of where you feel like you're hot shit. And I mean, I fully understand somebody's addiction to that. But like I said, consider my eyebrow raised. Like that's a real dumb way as a older person to control. Like 40 and up. Is he 40 now? He's got to be 40. That's a dumb way. I looked at his
pictures. He's looking as rough as I am. So, you know, I feel less, little depressed about my own age. And you're like, yeah, you can't hit chicks up like that. When like nobody told them like, hey bro, right. You got gray in your beard now. Yeah. You need to just not do that anymore.
Because the groupies have transitioned to, they're not waiting in line to blow you. They're waiting in line to tell people that you asked them to blow you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what? It's like a currency exchange. Like a lot of people have ended up walking around with Confederate Civil War dollars as their money. Like, you know, there's a bunch of people like when Owen Benjamin fucking